Hey everybody, it is me, Adam, for this week's Ask Adam Anything video series. Continue to send in those jingles so that we can use that at the beginning of these videos instead of me singing. So this week we had a close vote. It was between what happened to people who don't hear about Jesus and also can we date non-Christians. It was a really close one, so I might do a bonus in a day or so. But the winning vote was, can we date non-Christians? Can I have a boyfriend or a girlfriend who's not a Christian? What do we do? So let me get into this. This is a good question, just because this is something a lot of you are going to wrestle with in your life, and I want to give you some biblical wisdom and some practical advice. So let's first look at what the Scripture says. There's a passage that is often used, but I want to use this passage, and I want to kind of unpack the implications of what is being said here. In 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 14, Paul writes, "Do not be yoked together with unbelievers, for what do righteousness and wicked have in common? Or what fellowship can light have with darkness?" So that's a passage you may have heard before if you've asked anyone this question, perhaps your parents. And so you would say, how do I apply this? What does this mean? You need to be really clear, guys. When you are dating someone, the purpose of dating ultimately is you're looking for that person you're going to spend the rest of your life with. You might say, but I'm only 15. I'm not planning on getting married. Sure, you're probably not getting married anytime soon, but you're putting into practice the behaviors and skills that will put you into a place in the relatively near future where you're dating and marrying that future spouse. And so think about it this way. If you wanted to play basketball in college and you wanted to prepare for that, you would go out and you would practice basketball. You wouldn't go out and practice tennis. It wouldn't be beneficial to the goal that you have in mind. You want to be a basketball player, not a tennis player. And so you can't tell me I'm really trying to get prepared with my basketball skills, but you're never actually on a basketball court practicing basketball skills. In the same way, if the purpose of dating or building a relationship with someone is learning how to prepare yourself or be in a relationship with someone with the end goal eventually of being a covenantal, lifelong commitment to your husband or your wife before God, then why are you practicing a game that you're not going to play? You shouldn't be in a relationship in marriage with an unbeliever. That's going to cause you nothing but heartache and hurt. So don't do it. If you wouldn't do it when you're 25, why are you doing it when you're 15? It doesn't make any sense. You're only setting yourself up for problems. Full stop. So when we think about this, when you read this passage, it says, what do righteousness and wickedness have in common? You might say, well, this person isn't wicked. They're really, really nice. Well, I want you to think about this. I'm not saying that non-Christian boy or girl in your class that you think is really cute, really nice, you want to date them, I'm not saying that they are wicked. I'm saying that the trajectory of their lives are taking them on a path that is radically different than the path that you want to be on. And at this stage in life, it might feel like you're really close, so it's not that big a deal. But over a timeline, if they're going one step this way and you're going one step the other way, right now it feels close, but as time goes, each day those steps will take you farther and farther away from your goal. To use an example, when I was in 5th grade, they made a big deal about my graduating class. I was the class of 2000. And in 5th grade, they made us sign a pledge that said we were going to be the smoke-free class of 2000. The goal was that all high school students, when we would graduate in the year 2000, nobody would be smoking cigarettes. Like, we would break the hold of addiction in our culture. We would be the grade. We would forever be done, the smoke-free class of 2000. And let me tell you, there wasn't one 5th grader that I knew who refused to sign that pledge. Every single 5th grader in my school was excited to be a part of the smoke-free class of 2000. They all said, oh yeah, I'll never smoke. That'll never happen. Let me ask you a quick quiz question. Raise your hands if you know the answer to this. Did people in my grade smoke? Do people who are my age smoke today? If you raise your hand and said yes, you win the golden ticket. great job, because of course there are people still smoking today. My grade, the class of 2000, did not break the hold of tobacco and nicotine on our culture. So why did that happen? If we were all on the same page, there wasn't one fifth grader who was like, oh yeah, I'm going to start smoking a pack a day tomorrow. Why did they still end up smoking? Because though we could not see it at the time, there was a trajectory for certain kids, because of their background, their family, their influences, that by the time they would get to a certain age, their choices were becoming more and more radically different than other kids' choices. It wasn't very obvious in 5th grade. By 12th grade, the difference was huge. You might think this person is great and nice and they like all the same things I like, they're a really good person at 15 or at 16 or 12 or whatever it might be. But if the trajectory of their eternal soul is not pointed and oriented towards the cross of Jesus Christ, the gospel and finished work of God, then you are eventually going to find yourself in a place where either you have compromised and walked away from God, or you are in a relationship that the tension, because of the great chasm between the two of you, has become so heavy that you are hurting. Do not get into a romantic relationship with people who have not committed their lives to Jesus Christ. You are only going to set yourself up for long-term pain. You might say, but Adam, what if I can save them? I will do candlelight evangelism. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Do not do candlelight evangelism. Your job isn't to go make out with somebody and be like, hey, if you really like kissing me, you know what you'll really like? Jesus. It's not an effective technique for bringing the gospel. So bring the gospel to people, date Christians. Bring the gospel to that unbelieving cute guy in your class, date a Christian boy, date a Christian girl. Make that the focus. You will not regret focusing on God's people. You will regret, in some capacity, allowing yourself to become entwined or yoked with unbelievers in that capacity. Hope that helps and challenges you a little bit. Maybe a lot of you need to break up this week. Perhaps you need to do that. Can't wait to see you guys as we start our summer stuff here in just a few weeks.